Wednesday morning, everyone. I'm Skylar Callahan here on Between the Ears, and today we're going to look a little bit at the transfer portal tracker, talk about some of the top targets, what West Virginia absolutely has to get in the portal before they return to Morgantown, at least the players return to Morgantown for fall camp, and what could really be a big issue if they don't get these certain positions or players in the transfer portal. So let's go ahead and take a look at our transfer portal tracker. This you can find on our site at Mountaineers Now on online. You can check it out on Twitter. Just follow us at Mountaineers Now and our Facebook Mountaineers Now. So it's one-stop shop for you. You can take a look at all the players that West Virginia is targeting, players that have left West Virginia, and the players that have already committed to West Virginia through the portal. So let's take a look. Alrighty, so let's do a little recap real quick of what West Virginia has picked up so far through the portal. They've got a few commitments here, and really, I mean, statistically, when you look at these guys' previous years at their other schools and the production that they have, it's nothing that's really going to jump off the page to you. I think a lot of these are more picking these guys up because of their traits, they fit the needs, and quite frankly, they're hoping to just bring in some competition for the guys that they already have on the roster. Start here with Jalen Ellis, the Baylor wide receiver. You know, he's battled some injuries during his time in Waco, and really hasn't been able to see the field all that much. He only caught, I believe, 5 passes. Yeah, reported 5 receptions for 144 yards and a touchdown in 3 years. So obviously not a high volume guy. He's probably not going to give you a ton of production, but I mean, hey, if he stays healthy, who knows? They definitely need to, in my opinion, go out and get another receiver in this transfer portal this offseason. But whether they do or not remains to be seen. Tyron Bradley, Abilene Christian. This is the one I think that could be sneaky good, just because, I mean, you watch his highlights and you can see, like, okay, there's a few plays where you're like, okay, yeah, this looks like a Power 5 player, but it's a massive jump, man. Like when you go from Abilene Christian to playing in the Big 12, I mean, that's a major jump. And how consistent can he be? It, for me, is going to be the question. And is he going to be able to come in right away and be a starter, or be a third down pass rusher and have consistency? That's something I think is to be determined. There's a lot to learn about Tyron Bradley, and I don't think this is a big risk, big reward type of situation. This is obviously a low risk, high reward, but hopefully at the very least, Bradley comes in and takes this year to develop, make that adjustment to the Power 5, and hopefully by 2024, which will be his last year of eligibility, he can really start to make an impact and be a big part of this defense. The next guy, Beanie Bishop, defensive back out of Minnesota. I like this kid a lot. He's got a lot of different tools in his belt. He can play strong safety, he can play free safety, play nickel, he can play corner. I mean, he's probably going to play corner and nickel for the most part, I would say. But has a ton of experience. I mean, he's played at Western Kentucky, he's played at Minnesota, has produced everywhere he's been. And this fits a need, quite frankly. I mean, you look at what West Virginia struggled in last year in the secondary, and it wasn't just that they didn't have the experience. It was that they didn't have a guy with a voice. They didn't have the communication back there to really excel at a high level. And I think Beanie Bishop will be able to bring that. Somebody that the secondary group can look toward. And when you got a guy that's produced at the college level for this long, I think that's going to gain the attention of an Andrew Wilson Lamb or a Jacoby Spells. So getting Beanie Bishop, I think, was a tremendous find. But even a bigger find, in my opinion, and I think it's the best pickup so far by West Virginia, and I don't even think it's close, as Anthony Wilson. Again, another very versatile defensive back, can play across the board. and is someone that I believe will help take that communication and elevate it from where it was a year ago. Oh, I talked to him, I think it was right before his visit, and it seemed like he liked West Virginia right out of the gate. Like it felt like as long as the visit went well, which it did, obviously, that he was going to commit. And it feels like this is a place where he truly wants to be. He's got 2 years of eligibility remaining, and feels like he's going to play the nickel. That's at least what he told me. Play some nickel, some strong safety. Just kind of depends on how they can get the best 11 guys on the field. But Anthony Wilson is a very good pickup. I know he's a Georgia Southern guy, so again, it's not somebody you're pulling in from Miami or Florida State or Georgia or anything like that. But this is a very, very underrated kid. Don't be fooled by the name of the school that he came from. There's a lot of schools that in after this guy. So very hot commodity in the portal. Big pickup for the Mountaineers. Again, don't get fooled by that Georgia Southern name. Before we move into some of the targets, portal entries, a few walk-ons here. I don't know why Tony Mathis is not showing on here. I know I put him in there yesterday or a couple of days ago, so I'll have to check that and make sure it's updated. But just a few guys that are on scholarship in the portal here. Eric Burton, international kid that just really didn't get an opportunity, really didn't grow quite into his body just yet. He's still growing, I think, and I think he's going to be a really good college football player, but probably just going to take a little bit too long to really see the field here. Jalen Shelton, a junior college kid, and Caleb Coleman, another junior college defensive back that they probably see the writings on the wall, right? They haven't played a whole lot of football here in Morgantown, and with Beanie Bishop, Anthony Wilson coming in, they're probably going to add another guy. They added Keyshawn Cobb earlier in the offseason, so they can see the writing on the wall. They're bringing other transfers. Looks like they're going to be pushed down the depth chart once again, so don't mind them going out and finding a place where they can go play. All right, so now the transfer portal targets. So now there's a ton of guys here on this list. There's going to be more added throughout, the next few weeks. I think the transfer portal window, I should note, is closed as of right now. So it's not like they're going to go out and get anybody or offer anybody new in the portal, but they will be offering some guys that maybe have been in the portal and they just now decided to send an offer out to. So this is going to be a very active June, I think. May, I can't remember the recruiting calendar off the top of my head to know when exactly they can recruit the kids out of the portal, but June will be a big month, not only for the transfer portal, but for high school recruiting as well, as it always is with the official visits. But there's a couple of names in here that I think just absolutely West Virginia needs to land, or at least they need to get one of these two guys. And here's one of them right here. Both the same position, Antoine Powell Ryland Jr. from Florida. And then the other kid is Tomiwa Durjai. And I'm going to go ahead and actually refresh this because I know I put Durjai in here yesterday. And there he is. Okay, so maybe Tony Mathis is up here now in the portal. Yeah, there he is. Okay, so all I had to do is just update it. So, or refresh the page. But so Durjai and Powell Ryland Jr., these two kids, SEC transfers, they don't need to land both of them, but I think they have to at least get one of these guys. Again, the pass rush is something that is going to be a major, major question mark this year for West Virginia. You lose Taj Alston to the portal. You lose Jordan Jefferson to the portal. You lose Dante Stills to the NFL. That's a lot of production, and you're putting a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Sean Martin, who really just started to kind of come into himself a year ago. So they've got to land one of these two guys. If from everything I hear, Antoine Powell Riley Jr. is in a very good spot with West Virginia. I don't know if he is waiting to see what happens with this Tommy Waderjai visit, which is taking place today. I don't know if their plan is to take just one of these guys. Maybe that's why we haven't heard anything from Powell Ryland Jr. yet. Or maybe he's got a decision date locked up in his mind and he's going to still reveal that decision anyways, regardless of what Thursday decides. So, but as far as APRJ, I talked to some people down in Florida, and there was a lot of really good talk about him. The one guy that I talked to a lot about him, actually believes that he's kind of like a poor man's Yannick Ngakoue. And I know the stats don't really probably warrant that, but when he's going to be able to come in, say it's West Virginia, to a situation where he's going to be an every down player and just be able to, put his head down and go after the passer, there's an opportunity here for him to really have a strong 2 seasons and put himself firmly on the NFL radar. And I got to be honest, I haven't really watched his tape yet, but I'm going to trust what they say. He's a poor man's Yannick Ngakoue. And if I'm just going to say this, if they can get a poor man's Yannick Ngakoue on this defense, that's going to take Jordan Leslie's defense to a whole level that they have not had since probably, my goodness, I don't even know that they've been that good as a pass rushing team. They've had some decent numbers, but to have a guy that talented with those types of traits would be so beneficial to the second level and then trickling on down to the secondary. So APRJ again, in very good standing with West Virginia. Not really sure where that commitment is going to come out, if it is, but we'll see what happens there. And again, Tommy Waderjai, if you follow West Virginia football recruiting closely, this is a kid that really should be familiar to you, because coming out of high school, he had West Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia Tech, and Kentucky, I believe, were his 4 schools that he was considering, the 4 finalists that he had before he picked Kentucky, and had been to West Virginia multiple times, had visited there, spoke glowingly about them. So I actually think Durajai is in a really, really good spot. As long as the visit goes well, which, again, I don't see how any of these visits really go poorly, then I think West Virginia has a real shot here. And if they can somehow land both of these kids, if they decide they want to take both of these 2 SEC defensive end transfers, that does so much for this pass rush. And it's not just because they're landing kids from the SEC. The big part of it is you look at their potential. Like I said, with APRJ, I'm being told that he's a poor man's Yannick Ngakoue. I can't make that assumption. I can't say that or speak that for myself because I haven't watched his tape. I'll have to do that. Maybe if he commits, I'll dive into that. But for Durjai, I mean, you're getting a kid that is very skilled, very big, is already he's ready to come in and play, and he's got 4 years of eligibility remaining. He's got a ton of time left. So, and the Florida kid's got 2 years. So you've got guys that are going to come in and are going to be a part of this defense for quite a while, not just a stopgap Band-Aid that's just going to help you fill a need. These kids are going to be around for a while. So Durjai, APRJ, probably the 2 biggest names on this list. Anthony Campbell out of UL Monroe, I think, is probably like a plan B for the staff if they don't get one of those 2 guys. But I really shouldn't even say a plan B, because, I mean, he is someone that's getting targeted by several Power 5 schools. I don't know if they're going to try to get him on a visit. I have not heard. I'll have to reach back out to Anthony to see if he's set anything up yet. But as of right now, I don't believe that's the case. But then you go down here to linebacker. This is an interesting one here with Connor Neer from Ferris State. And if you don't know where Ferris State is, I mean, I don't blame you. I had to look it up too. But this is an interesting prospect. He actually did visit West Virginia, so he's already got that under his belt. Has some fairly big offers here: Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Duke, uh, Georgia Tech, Michigan State, Utah State, Washington State. So I mean, he's got some bigger schools going after him here. And with Trotter going down probably for the whole year, probably could see West Virginia going after a veteran linebacker to kind of help bridge that gap. But I don't think it's a major need, but something worth looking at. And again, you can never have enough defensive back help. So, Antonio Carter from Rhode Island would be somebody that I think that they would like to still look at, even though I think he's leaning elsewhere. But that's pretty much all you see right here for the transfer portal targets. Again, we're going to be adding to this list daily, at least as long as they add offers in the portal. So if you want to keep up with all the transfer portal movement, just go right here to the transfer portal target additions and trackers, entries, whatever. I can't even remember the name of the title here. Let me go up so I don't sound too stupid here. WVU Football Transfer Tracker, additions, entries, and targets. So everything in one place here for you. And as you could see with the transfer portal targets, or at least the majority of these kids, some of them there's just no info on, and we haven't received word back from them to be able to put any more info into it. But for the most part, we've got a little bit of a write-up here on these kids, along with their interests that they're gaining in the portal, some of the schools that have expressed interest in them or have contacted them, and then the eligibility remaining. So every little bit of info that you need, all here in one place on Mountaineers Now. So that's really all for now. I think, again, get a pass rusher, a defensive back, maybe a receiver, and West Virginia is going to be in a much better position heading into State College for that season opener against Penn State than they are right now. This roster certainly needs some TLC, but it's not in a bad spot. Could be worse, but the portal is going to be huge this offseason for West Virginia. And if they can land a couple of these guys, maybe changes the outlook slightly on how the season could go. So that's it for today's show. I'm Skylar Callahan. You've been watching the Between the Ears show. Tomorrow, I believe we should have our weekly baseball report with Christopher Hall and Julia Mellett. They'll be live from Mon County Ballpark to recap the backyard brawl between West Virginia and Pitt. And if that does not happen, I'm not sure what we'll go tomorrow, but we'll have something up here for you here on Between the Ears. So check us out on Twitter at Mountaineers Now. Hit that subscribe button at Mountaineers Now also, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. So until then, take care.